Welcome back to Sports Chat, ladies and gentlemen. With us today we have Student Council President Brandon Johnson. Now, Brandon, you're partly responsible, along with Director Poston and the new administration, for some big changes coming up. The way some stuff's going to be done, especially around homecoming this year.
Definitely. We are, as many of y'all remember, back in the day, how homecoming was a much larger deal. How the main street of La Follette was shut down for a huge parade. Festivities went on all week long. Class pranks were played against one another. In the past years, that has declined. For the past 2 years, in downtown Jacksboro, we were lucky enough to have a small parade. I'm sure you all remember that. Well, this year, with the support of La Follette City Mayor Mike Stanfield, the Chief of Police, and the administration within the county schools and at the high school, we are lucky enough to have the homecoming parade once again back in downtown La Follette.
That's awesome. Now, I said homecoming, that's, here recently in Campbell County, especially football-wise, a lot of stuff like that's not meant a lot.
Right, definitely.
I mean, it's good that you all got the parade back in Jacksboro, but actually having an actual parade in La Follette during downtown, with the street shut down and all, that's a big deal. Now, we talked a little bit beforehand, you talked about getting alumni involved too.
Definitely. We are having different categories as far as the floats. We're actually having a contest between the classes as normal, but we're also wanting alumni. We're wanting the businesses back. We're wanting homecoming from where it's been such an isolated event to once again become a community event.
Something that everybody can get behind and enjoy.
Exactly. Definitely. You see that the high school students and athletes and whatnot, especially in these past years, have felt like the community could care less about them, that they don't matter. And so once again, we're wanting to restore the pride that was once in Campbell County High School sports.
Well, that's what it needs. I mean, football, long suffering. Basketball of recent years has suffered from fan support. Of course, the spring sports get very little outside family members.
Yes. You got your new coaching staff in place, and you got this activity going on, got some spirit stuff going on with different weeks of the football season coming up. I know in the works, you're not finalized anything.
Definitely.
So, that's good. Anything that gets people interested in it, gets people out to support it, means all the difference. Especially like you said, brought up a good point, getting the local businesses back into support situations with all this stuff.
I would really like to see some local businesses step up and getting floats and such in the parade. We've got some good-sized businesses in town. Your Durolls, your Riggs Drug, the various banks. They could all come together and get involved in this.
It's not. I think the high school has been viewed the past few years as kind of a outside source, as to where really it's not my high school, it's not the teacher's high school, it's not the principal's high school, it's the community's high school. And that's something that definitely the entire community needs to get behind once again.
Well, a lot of places the high school is a source of pride.
Yeah, I mean, it's central to activities. In the high school football game at home that weekend, that's the big event of the week for a lot of small towns. And it used to, even though football's never been that successful here, it was still a big event. And it needs to become a big event again for the whole community.
And that's what the meeting last week with Director Poston, that was a very influential part, that we need this spirit back. And so a huge announcement that I don't even think I've spoken to you much about, that definitely very few people know about except for who are in that meeting, is we actually have the homecoming date finalized. It will be the 16th of September. The homecoming parade will actually be before the football game like it used to. And a huge new announcement is that school is actually going to be dismissed at 1 p.m. so that the school and teachers and faculty and the entire community...
Now, you say school, do you mean school or all schools in the county?
That hasn't been finalized.
That hasn't been finalized.
For sure, Campbell County High School will be dismissed. Early dismissal on that day.
So that never happened when I know it didn't happen when any of us were there.
So that shows that the central office staff is behind the student body wanting to get the pride back.
Well, I'm glad to hear your student council is taking such an active role in it, and the community leaders like Director Poston and La Follette Mayor and
Mike
Mr. Stanfield.
Right.
Glad to hear they're taking that big of a role in it and embracing it again.
And you know, in credit where it's due. Let's give Jack Cannon and Jacksboro some credit for stepping up and hosting it the year before. But I mean, with Jacksboro, even on Main Street in Jacksboro, it's you know kind of out of the way. Main Street will follow it. I mean, you know from experience when that gets shut down. I mean, you pretty much have no choice but to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal because you know that's a state highway. So obviously they've had to work with the state to get permission to do this.
Correct. Yes, we've been assured through Mayor Stanfield that everything to shut down the street, any help that we need will be given to us.
Well, I know Mike will take care of you. Of course, Chief Jeffers will follow it. I'm sure will be
Definitely
a tremendous help. I mean, in the past with the Christmas parade, those folks have been great for us.
Now, I don't know if you know this or not. Who's the opponent that night for homecoming?
The opponent that night, I have it in my card, but I believe it's Central.
It is Central.
So
What date did you say it was?
the 16th of September.
That's not Central. You know, that's Central's longtime Campbell County rival. I mean, not to the level of Carnes especially, but of course Carnes will be senior night. That's going to be your last home game of the year probably. Should be a good competitive game. Central's had some good years in football. When I coached at Jacksboro Middle School, the Little League program that was based in the Central area used to come up and do camp with us. That was just some quality football. So it should be a good game. With a new, exciting coaching staff. You know, all this homecoming activity. Now, you mentioned class pranks.
Well, I'm sure those are not sponsored by any.
What I'm thinking is, is we need to get together, start playing pranks on, say, the class of '89, and I've got some people in mind. And by that I mean Al. Yeah,
Would you consider pranking maybe Cumberland Gap?
Well, since we
probably don't play it, but we know a coach up there. He really gets pranked.
It doesn't be that way.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you should definitely prank Sean Jesse at Cumberland Gas. Yeah.
Well, hopefully those will stay to a minimum and not reflect the way your all classes
those
did.
aren't state-sponsored pranks, so you have to just keep those on the down low.
We understand it's politics. It's all business. We know.
Any word of maybe the fence display coming back? That was always big when we were in high school.
Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the fence display will be coming back this year.
But if you're building floats for a parade.
Correct. We've talked about the fence display. One thing we are looking at doing is one of the teachers from a different school system, our great sponsor, Miss Billy Jo Ralston, which I know you all have had the pleasure of working with. At their old school system, they did flags throughout the town. So each class was directed to make flags, spirit flags, to hang throughout the town.
And of course, with downtown La Follette has those flag holders.
They're out right now with the American flags.
Right.
And so it would be good to see the town covered in blue and orange.
I think that would be nice, and if you can, make signs, and they hang the Christmas lights up. Maybe see if you can get the electric department to hang your signs up for the parade.
Right. I mean,
or the week of the homecoming, something else.
Maybe have some businesses design their own signs to hang out.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said earlier, we're encouraging the businesses to come to the parade. And
I'm glad to hear that this much support's getting back behind the football program, the sports programs in general up there.
Right. We're ecstatic. When I had a student council met with Miss Jamie Wheeler, the new head principal at Campbell County High School, she said it's new administration, new coaches, time for new changes. So it's time to revamp, bringing back the pride, as Director Poston said. So
I know from personal interaction with Miss Wheeler, she's a really great person,
fantastic.
Gets behind her sports, gets behind her students.
Luke can definitely attest to that.
Yeah.
She helped Luke a lot. I mean, she cares. That's the most important thing. She cares.
Well, we love you, Miss. She brings us pizza when we're at Jackson.
And butter to put on the pizza.
Yeah, she even looks for butter.
Well, she bought me donuts, so.
We need to go meet with Miss Wheeler.
Morning meetings, definitely. But so we're looking forward to bringing the spirit back, and as well as homecoming. In the weeks prior, we're turning these. I'm sure you're familiar with the spirit nights. Now,
the terrible dress-up nights, as I call them.
Well, these terrible dress-up nights help school spirit, but we're taking that to a whole new level. Last year, we helped one of our dress-up nights reflected a charity, Susan G. Coleman Foundation, with Think Pink Night. So we were actually able to raise enough money to help sponsor a mammogram for an uninsured woman. And so
cool.
This year we're doing spirit nights such as Think Pink Night. We're doing a Support Your Troops Night. well, actually more than a Support Your Troops night, we're having, if you're familiar with the AC game, it is on the 2nd of September. And so being so close to the 10th anniversary of 9/11, we're actually going to be taking up funding and sending that funding to 9/11, the charities associated with it. And
So
I think,
what you're saying is for Pink Night, I should get me a big pink feather boa,
yes,
pink bandana.
just
I
please
knew
no
that.
pink body paint.
Run today.
Ruined.
Really?
That day.
Man.
But I mean, that's good. I like that better than just random let's wear togas night or
Definitely.
burn living
Have you
effigy
talked to
night.
Coach Price any about?
We have been
Stuff like
in
this?
we have been in contact with him.
'Cause I know he's pushing to put as much stuff out about the football program as possible. It's like you should be working with him on a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I know he would be behind you all. I'm sure.
Yes, Miss Ralston has been in direct contact with him several times, keeping him up to date on any changes that the student council is wanting to put in. And so far, he's been totally 100% behind us on all the changes we've decided to do. So, in the past few years, we've seen the football program get such a bad rap. Well, I know we're ready for them to succeed at what they can do. And there's such great talent within the football team. We have such great players, and in all our sports, that we're ready for Campbell County to
Now-
be back on top.
Now, I know this is a little bit in the future, but if you thought about doing, I mean, obviously a parade's probably not in the works for basketball homecoming because it's, in the winter.
Definitely.
Have you got any ideas something to make basketball homecoming special?
There are talks as far as basketball has gone. Nothing official.
Well, basketball's in the future, and we'll
Yes.
definitely have you back on when you have something official.
Now, will you bring the Pat's mentioned in his articles, especially lately, bring back the concept of the Cougar Nation to the sporting events?
Right. There's been ideas thrown around as far as the Cougar Nation and pet buses and things like that.
Pet buses should happen, for sure.
Everything's been talked about. So there's no corner been unturned yet, and so we're still looking.
Well, let me bring this up to you as an idea. I mean, obviously, you're student council president. You're pretty much on top of the student food chain there, as far as leadership positions go. And I don't know. You might be able. Has there been a pet club the last few years?
There unfortunately has not.
You might need to work on that.
Yes,
That's just my request to you: is that you work on maybe finding somebody to do a pet club. I mean, that would be big. I mean, we had that when I was there.
Yes.
I mean, it's when I played football in Jacksboro, the pet club was huge.
I don't know if they're still do you still have a Mr. Spirit award for?
Yes.
I mean, that was hotly contested by a bunch of people. They tried really hard to win that.
Oh yeah, that was one of the big of it. That's strictly a basketball homecoming thing, right?
Correct.
Now, right?
Yes. And so.
Oh yeah, but I mean, Mr. Spirit. Oh gosh, when we were in high school, and it probably was when Luke was too. I mean, it was the top award a male could win in the school.
Definitely, huge changes are happening.
Scott Lindsay was a tremendous Mr. Spirit back in his day.
Yeah.
Of course, Mark Goins was Mr. Spirit. He's now Mr. Election Commissioner.
Yeah,
I think Al was Mr. Spirit.
Al was Mr. Spirit. They fought hard to win that.
I mean, it was a war.
You got behind the teams. You supported. It's everything you're doing right now, talking about bringing back. It'd be great to see that back.
Bringing back the pride in Campbell County High School. So that's one thing we're highly looking forward to. So there's going to be big changes in the way the internal homecoming is done, as far as the election process and nomination, and so that'll be posting. We'll be getting that
I'm
out
just glad to
soon
hear the
enough.
student council is back to actually doing things.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
We've had some internal troubles going on and whatnot, but
Well, Brandon, I want to thank you for coming on here.
Thank
We
you,
are
Pat.
out of time. We'll definitely have you back on when some more stuff is finalized. Fans, we'll see you next week.